Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is going to be a smoked eye makeup look inspired by Nikki Makeup on Instagram and Natasha Denona and her eyeshadow palettes. So I'm just starting by prepping the skin with a little bit of moisturiser, lip balm and the Giorgio Armani Maestro UV primer, which has SPF 50 in it. And then using the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in shade 5.25. I'm using my fingers to blend this in, just so it's really seamless, really flawless on the skin. I wanted to really melt it into the skin and make sure that it just looked really natural. I didn't want a heavy base for this look. I do build it up more towards the end, more than what I originally planned to, but I just thought it tied in really nicely with the smoked eyes. So I'm just making sure that's really blended in and adding more and more as I go along and as I need to. And then using my favourite, the Too Faced Super Full Coverage Concealer. This is in quite a light shade, but I really love to brighten with it and to contour. So I use that under the eyes, down the sides of the nose to get rid of those shadows, and under my cheekbones just to really sculpt my jawline, my nose and the centre of my forehead. So you can see that's totally changed the shade of my makeup, and I'm just adding a little bit extra where I need it on top of any spots or anything like that. And then using the Christian Dior bronzing, I'm trying to think of what this is called, I'll leave it linked down below. I'm using this shade first because it's not as dark, so it's perfect to start bronzing my face without going too orange, and it's really lovely to contour my nose as well. It's a really more natural shade, so I'm really building that up on my temples, my cheekbones and my jawline. And the trick is to not forget about the chin and to not cut that off. So I take that underneath the chin as well, just to really sculpt the jaw and the chin, and to make sure that's really blended in lovely down my neck and then across my nose. And I actually take a small blending brush as well to take that down the sides of my nose. So because this is a smoked look, I really built it up on the side of my temple and just as my temple meets the cheekbones, so it's really bronzed down the sides of my eyes as well. And then I use my Real Techniques beauty sponge to make sure that's all blended in and really seamless. And then using the Urban Decay translucent setting powder, I'm just popping that wherever I haven't put the bronzer, so down the centre of my face and under my cheekbones. And then I actually go in with the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude powder. This is a little bit more illuminating, and I just add this over the setting powder to make sure that I've still got a little bit of that glow. And you can't see it too much on camera, but in person it really makes a difference and adds that gleam back into my skin. And then using the Backstage Dior Highlighting and Glow palette, I'm using the bronzing shade just to really warm up my skin and making sure again that's all blended in lovely. A little bit of the blusher, and then I actually go in with the Chanel blusher as well. I do put more blush on than normal as I kind of wanted a rosy tint to the skin and of that lovely spring glow. And then using the MAC paint pot in shade Painterly, I just prime the eyes, and then using my brown mascara over the brows and an angled brush and some eyeshadow. So I use two different shades for this, lighter at the front and darker on the arch, just to really thicken the brows and shape them up a little bit more. I'm actually using eyeshadow at the moment because I'm planning on getting a lot of Anastasia Beverly Hills whilst I'm in America, so I'm holding out. So I'm just making sure that's really neat with the paint pot and a small concealer brush. And I wanted to do my brows first, but I do always go over my brows at the end of a look, whether that's on or off camera, whether to darken them or just to brush them out again. So you can see that's really glowing skin, it's got a lovely rosy glow. And then using the MAC Warm Neutral 15 Pan palette, I'm using the terracotta tan shade just through the crease of my eyes, and then I also take it down to the inner corner. So this is inspired by the picture, and it was darker on either corners of the eye and lighter in the middle. So I take that down and underneath with a smaller brush, just to make sure that that is the perfect base shade. So there's 3 different shades in this look, and I just really loved the outcome. So I'm just making sure that's really blended in, always taking a clean blending brush to blend the edges. So I'm just darkening that with the dark brown shade from the palette, and I also use a smaller brush just to make sure it's really angled on the outer V and to make sure I've got that perfect shape. And I'm taking that down to the inner corner of the eye and to the tear duct. So I'm really taking that to a sharp point on the inner corner and then blending that out. So you can see it's really darkened it up, and I just love how that looks. It ended up going into a really nice shape, and I just really love doing this look. So I'm just darkening that underneath the eyes, making sure that it's on the inner waterline as well, and darker on the crease. So you can see I'm taking an angled brush just to darken that even more, and then I do go in with black just to really deepen up the whole eye. So always blending that out, and you can clean it up with some concealer as well and then blend it out again if you do go a little bit too far out. And then I'm using a dark brown shade just to deepen the edge of the outer corner, but making sure it's not in the centre of the eye. And I use the Brulee shade from the MAC palette for the centre of the eye to keep that skin shade. And you can see that the black makes such a difference here. It really darkens the eye up. And I just use it really careful. Black's a lot more difficult to blend in. It also tends to have a lot of fallout as well. So I'm just making sure I'm being really careful with that and making sure that there's always 3 different shades. So there should be the terracotta shade, the dark brown shade and the black shades, all blending into one another rather than one block of colour. So that's both eyes done, and I'm just neatening that up and adding a highlight on the inner corner of the eye and taking that slightly underneath as well. So it goes dark and then to the highlight. I still want that pop of a gleam. And then using my Lancome mascara, I'm just thickening up the lashes. And this is when I go in with the bronzer again, just deepen up the face a little bit. So I think that just suits the look a lot better. And then going with the Fenty highlight in shade Starstruck, I believe it is. And you can see that this really glows on camera. It's the only highlight I have that really does this. And I wanted to add a glow to the centre of the nose, the chin, the cheekbones and my forehead for that really kind of almost wet, smoky eye look. So the eye's really strong, the skin's gleaming, really bronzed, slightly rosy for the spring. I love it. So I'm taking that on my upper cheekbones as well, just to really create that shape. And then I go back into the eyes with an angled brush and I add black to the waterline just to really deepen that up. I don't think you can do a smoky eye without adding something to the waterline as well. It just doesn't quite always sit right. And then I just want a really nude glossy lip for this. So just using a nude lip liner, I'm overlining the lips slightly, always taking it back to my natural lip line on the outer corners. And then using my Japanese maple lipstick from MAC and my NYX lip gloss. I will leave the shade down below, or it'll be on my Instagram as well. And that's just a really lovely gloss, and that's the finished makeup look. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!